In the southeastern corner of Nigeria, far beyond the tarred roads and mobile phone signals, there once stood a quiet farming community called Ogodume. It wasn't on most maps, and outsiders rarely visited. But those who lived there swore by its peace than feared its forest. On the night of August 14, 1993, strange things began to happen. Chickens refused to roost, dogs howled in unison, and the air smelled faintly of burning palm oil though no fires burned. An old woman named Mama Ifeoma, the village midwife, said she had a deep drumbeat coming from the direction of the forest, slow, deliberate, and unlike anything she'd heard before. By dawn, the entire village was gone. Every hut stood empty, cooking pot still warm, food half-eaten. The only living thing left was a stray goat, tied to a post, bleating at nothing. Some say they walked into the forest willingly. Others claimed something came out and took them. But whatever happened, no one ever saw a single villager again. But this is not just a ghost story. 20 years later, someone returned from Ogodume. In 2013, a commercial bus traveling from Enugu to Port Harcourt stopped at a roadside market. Among the passengers was a frail, barefoot man in tattered clothes. He had no luggage, no ID, and no money, only a carved wooden pendant shaped like a mask. When a trader offered him food, he whispered in a hoarse voice, "Is this Umwa here?" The trader, startled, replied, "Yes." The man wept. It wasn't long before someone noticed the pendant. An old market woman froze when she saw it. She swore it belonged to her cousin, who had disappeared from Ogodume in 1993. The police took the man into custody, thinking he was mentally unstable. But when questioned, he said things only someone from Ogodume could know, like the secret nickname of the village chief and the location of an underground yam store that had been hidden for decades. Then he told them something they couldn't explain: "We never left. We were taken." The man, who called himself Okoro, claimed the entire village had been invited into the forest by the drummers. At first, no one believed him, until he began describing the sound. According to Okoro, the drumming was hypnotic. One by one, people began walking toward the forest without speaking, their eyes vacant, their steps perfectly in rhythm with the beat. By midnight, the whole village had entered, except him. He hid inside a yam barn, too terrified to move. When dawn broke, the forest was silent, and the village was empty. The police searched the forest for days, but there was no sign of mass graves, no abandoned camp, no human remains, just a single tree with carvings in an unfamiliar language spiraling up its trunk. Okoro claimed he had been kept in the forest for 20 years but had no memory of how time passed. His skin was smooth, his teeth perfect, as though he had not aged at all. Local journalists picked up the story, dubbing it the curse of Ogodume. Skeptics called it a hoax, but when they returned to the location marked on old land maps, there was nothing but overgrown bush. No huts. No footpaths. Not even the goat's post remained. One journalist, Nnamdi Ibekwe, decided to dig deeper. He interviewed elderly villagers from nearby communities, and one old hunter revealed a chilling detail: the forest where Ogodume once stood was known in old Igbo tales as Ohiandumo, the living forest of spirits. Legend said that once every 50 years, the forest claimed an entire community to keep the balance between the living and the dead. Those taken were never seen again, unless they were chosen to warn others. Nnamdi laughed off the legend, until he found the same spiral-carved tree Okoro described. Beneath it lay fresh footprints, small, barefoot, and leading deeper into the forest. 2 weeks after his return, Okoro vanished from the police safe house. The CCTV footage showed something terrifying: Okoro standing still at 2:33 a.m., head tilted as if listening. Then, without warning, he walked out of the building barefoot and disappeared into the night. His pendant was later found on the steps of a small shrine just outside Enugu. The police sealed the area and called for spiritualists. One of them, a blind seer from Nsukka, warned, "The forest is calling again." This time, it will not stop at one village. The government officially closed the investigation, calling it unsubstantiated folklore. But locals began reporting hearing faint drum beats in the early hours, especially those living near the old Ogodume site. In 2015, journalist Nnamdi received a package with no return address. Inside was a worn leather notebook, water-stained and smelling faintly of earth. The handwriting matched Okoro's. The final page read, "We are still here. Do not follow the drums. Do not answer when they call your name. The forest is hungry again." That same week, a small farming community 10 kilometers from the old Ogodume site reported that their goats refused to return to their pens. Dogs howled all night. And at exactly midnight, a deep, deliberate drumbeat echoed from the forest. No one has heard from that community since. If you ever hear drums in the middle of the night, and you live near an old forest, don't go looking for the source. What do you think happened to Ogodume? Was it the work of spirits, a government cover-up, or something science hasn't explained yet? Tell us in the comments. And if you want more African stories and mysteries like this one, subscribe now, because the next mystery might be closer to your home than you think.